I'm just wondering because there's a lot of companies, and I don't know about the story of this pharmaceutical company you worked with, but it sounded like they had a strong mission set in stone. But there's a lot of organizations that need to do a rebranding. They need to do a pivot. They want to change maybe the culture and what the company stands for.
Hmm.
So, have you seen in your research companies that have been able to change that and make the workers more excited, more optimal in the process?
Yeah, what we find is that articulating a shared mission that gives meaning and purpose is part of it, but also you want to change the culture of the organization to support that. And that means having leaders who are not the kind of leader you hate, but the kind of leader you love, which means a leader who cares about you, a leader who articulates a shared purpose, a leader who is available, not aloof. I've asked people around the world, tell me about a leader you loved and a leader who you hated, and what quality made them so. And, wherever I go, it's the same list. It's basically a leader who you respect, who listens to you, who's available, who empathizes, who articulates a mission of meaning. Those are the leaders people love, and they give their best for. They're more engaged. We have lots of data on this now. But there's something else. In an organization, you want to have someone on the business side, not in human resources or something like that, articulate the fact that this matters, that being like this is what counts here. And then supporting that, for example, in a performance review. You don't want to just focus on what people did wrong or what they need to do better. You want to know not just what are the results you got, but how did you get them? Do the people who work for you feel engaged? Do they feel like they want to stay? Are they loyal? Or do they want to leave? You can burn people out, but get the results. That's not helping the organization. And then offering ways to develop these qualities, something that actually works, not just having like a guy like me come in and keynote. And then, the half-life of that is like really short or a one-day offsite. You want to have a sustained way of developing people and having leaders who know that part of leadership is coaching people, mentoring them, not just criticizing them, not just ordering them around. That real leaders care about the future of the people who work for them. And that creates immense loyalty.
Well, I mean, I'm a biased man. I mean, I'm the selling guy. I do find that the job of a great leader will be a sales job because you're selling people, the reasons why they're doing things for themselves. And I think in the same way that you'll have a bad leader would have the same types of negative traits as a bad salesperson, which is being pushy, caring about their own needs, not listening. And
That's
so I'm
right.
seeing a lot of parallels in these skill sets. So then I'm like, okay, well, let's take away my bias. It almost seems like being a better human makes you better in organizations all around. And at the age where we're seeing robots are starting to take over a lot of these functions, I feel like we need to go back to getting human training, not business training, to actually be effective.
That's very well put. I mean, the one problem with AI from an emotional intelligence point of view is that algorithms have no emotions.
Mm.
They're just decision rules. That's all they are. They don't empathize. They might be able to do a kind of surface reading from facial expression and so on, but they don't really resonate with people. They don't have the capacities to inspire. They don't have the capacities to be self-aware even. Because that part of self-awareness is knowing what you're feeling and why you're feeling it and how it shapes your biases or thinking or impulse to act. They don't have that. So I think that leadership will always be a human responsibility.
Yeah, it's God, well, it does have the capacity to impress. I'll say that much. I was speaking to a spiritual leader who's a client of mine, and well, she was very adamant on the fact that we will eventually see that our technology will gain sentience, and so we better be kind to our chat GPT friends and such, because maybe that skill will develop. I mean, we came from non-sentience and developed sentience as well. It was only a matter of time. But one of the things I find very, very interesting is our relationship with technology is almost like an abusive relationship, right? We use it to our advantage. We almost enslave it for our needs. And I find that there's maybe going to be a loss of humanity, of expectations of people who work with you, for people that have been used to working with technology and just said like, yeah, it works 24 hours, never sleeps, always does what I do. And now when you're getting in a position where you're having to deal with other humans, you're like, what? They're having a bad day. How dare they? And so how do we keep a pulse on making sure we don't lose our humanity as the world becomes much more a series of decisions and algorithms, and we're becoming accustomed to that?
I think that there's always going to be a human reality to how we work, how we relate, what leadership comes down to. I don't think people would follow a chatbot the same way they would follow an inspiring leader. I don't think that a chatbot will be able to articulate a shared mission from the heart to the heart. It has no heart. So it might imitate that, but it's not going to be the real thing, the real deal.
It's crazy how we can almost detect the lack of soul in things that have been created by AI. And I can't explain it. It's kind of weird. And I have a feeling when you were at the cutting edge of talking about the effectiveness of emotional intelligence on how it contributes to every aspect of performance and team management, it was hard to measure back then. And so I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to keep that humanity and nurture it. And quite frankly, I think that ends up being the number one trait that'll allow us to grow within an organization and make the impact that we need to make for the problems we need to solve on this planet. Because boy, are there many problems we need to solve.
Many problems. And I think caring, there are three kinds of empathy, Jason. I think I've told you about this before, but it bears repeating. The first time is cognitive empathy. And chatbots can have cognitive empathy. It's understanding how people think about the world and the terms they use to describe it to themselves. The second is emotional empathy. And I'm not sure a chatbot can have that because they don't have emotions. They can have kind of a surface reading, but that's it. And then the third is caring or concern. And, if you're selling with love, it means you care about the person. You're just not trying to close a sale, but you're trying to form a relationship, which will be an ongoing sale, so to speak. But to do that, you need to have trust. The other person has to feel that you care about them. I remember research years ago that showed that the most effective salespeople didn't just make sales; they formed relationships, and they were kind of consultants to their customers, saying. They'd even say, this widget isn't the best one for you. I think the best one is this other one. If you do that, that's very powerful in terms of solidifying a relationship, because it means you don't care about manipulating that person. You care about their well-being. And that means they can trust you. And trust is essential for selling with love. It's the love part. It's the concern. It's the caring about them that means that you're going to have an ongoing relationship with that client or customer or whomever.
Thank you so much for listening to the Selling with Love podcast. We have some previous episodes you can tune into right here. And if you prefer the short form content where you get to the point in under 10 minutes, we do have a ton of clips from our best episodes that are being shared on this channel as well. So pick which one supports you the most. And of course, thank you for liking, subscribing, and of course, selling with love.